I am.
There we are.
Hey, oh God, you're freaking me out with I'm on the wrong side, Pat. You got to help me out here.
I am more left of you, so we fix that.
That is just.
You're no leftist. You are no leftist, Leila.
In the mirror. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Punch Up Pod with Leila and Pat. How is everybody this fine Wednesday? Really excited about our show and everything we have to discuss. But first, Pat, I just wanted to ask you, how was your weekend?
You always ask me that, and I have nothing, but I attended a friend's birthday party, so I'm an old man officially. That's like the one thing I have to say, that I went to a birthday party for Little Will. Shout out to Little Will.
All right, Little Will.
I am sort of mocking him for his height, but the reason he's Little Will is we have a Big Will in our circle too. So we have
don't bring me down.
That.
No, I don't want to get canceled on some kind of ableist BS that you're bringing me into. Not happening. Yeah. Happy birthday to Will.
Little Will, thank you.
All right. Well,
how was yours?
Thanks for asking. It was crap, to tell you the truth. I buried my poor dog, and I'm very sad about it. As our viewers know, my sweet Sandy had cancer, and we had to amputate her leg, and she had to go through a lot of stuff. Pat got to meet her a couple weeks ago. She's in a better place now, and
it was awesome.
Yeah, thank you. So cheers to my girl Sandy. She blessed our house. I never say that word, but love her, and very sad, but I'm going to drink through it. There's so much else also to be sad about worldwide, so we got a lot to talk about. Should we? Oh, hey, I'm seeing that somebody says that your video is off. Is your video feed off? Can anybody?
That was probably from the beginning. Can you guys see me?
Okay. Rest in power, Sandy. Thank you, Daniel.
Okay, it's fixed.
Yeah. Can you? I don't know.
It's fixed.
Okay. Yeah.
I talked to my tech person.
All right. Yeah, good job. All right, should we bring on? We're so excited to welcome Zach and Gavin from the Vanguard today. Thanks everybody for letting us know. So should bring them on, and we can talk about the General Strike Summit that we all participated in. Hey guys, Gavin.
Hey, what's up?
Cheers.
How's it going? Great to be here, Pat and Leila.
On here, they've had us on a couple times, and we're so happy to have you guys over on our side of town.
Yeah, no, we're so glad to be here. Thanks so much for the invite. Huge fan of both of your guys' commentary, and also so sorry to hear about your dog, Leila. That really sucks. But like someone said, rest in peace, Sandy.
Yeah, as a dog dad and as somebody, my dog is. I literally am one of those people that I do not go places that I can help it with my dog. Take him everywhere. So I really, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry about Sandy. That's really a tough one.
It pretty hard today. I realized how much of my day I narrate out loud to my dog, and she's not there to hear me, so I'm just talking to myself now. But
so wait, I do the same thing. I do voices for my dog. Like, I'm a real nutcase.
That's sweet. Well, yeah, Pat, what?
I was just going to say, to transition from that, which is really sad. And I met her dog, amazing, super cool, 3-legged dog, due to cancer, whatnot, but super fun. But I just want to say to Gavin, impressive feat that your cat mauled you on air before mine. Because I always watch my back, because my cat is going to really fuck me up one of these days. But so we were on with you, and you came back with a literal gash of blood dripping down.
It was bloody, bro. Yeah, that was crazy. I think the problem was she was in my lap, and I'm over here like getting all animated, moving my hand and stuff. I think I freaked her out, and she just turned around and grabbed my face. But yeah, that was fucked up.
You can take the cat from the streets, but you can't take the streets from that cat, Gavin.
True. She does have 2 or so years of just those feral instincts, so she's a little fucker sometimes.
Well, you were a real pro. The show went on. You came right back with your, big wad of cotton.
My bleeding face, yeah.
Exactly. So we wanted to talk about a bunch of stuff. The first thing we like to start with something positive, which we were all part of, which was so much fun this past weekend, which was 30 hours. Look at Pat with the graphic. 30 hours of talking about how we go about putting together a general strike. And it was put together by the Fred Hampton leftists, and they were just tireless. I mean, I've never watched actually so much YouTube in a row as that weekend. It was so impressive. And then on Monday, they had Josanna out there with the Occupy Pfizer. I mean, they just like did not quit. It was pretty remarkable.
Yeah, I fucking love the guys at FHL and well, I use guys as a general neutral, the comrades over there at FHL. Gavin and I were also applauding just the mammoth amount of work that went into that General Strike Summit, the range of guests, the just duration, 30 hours of material, scheduling that, booking that, keeping a live stream going, and this is an up and coming podcast, right? So these people, this is a labor of love. Like these guys are doing it out of the goodness of their heart. So yeah, just intense solidarity and just, applaud those guys for their awesome fucking work.
It was,
Yeah.
Oh, but I also want to add that they blew it because people were able to pull 30-second clips from that they didn't like. So to have 30 hours of footage and fuck up 30 seconds here and there is pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, that was watching all the blue check marks just writhe in joy. If there was any moment that they could pull, was just really disheartening. Again, I mean, it shouldn't surprise us, but yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, if you watch the majority of the panel, the vast majority of it was all substantive, great conversation between interesting leftist voices, and yeah, just pulling the 5% of the cringe or whatever and making it out to be the whole thing is bullshit.
I always, when people do that, because they love to do that, like, guilt by association. Of course, they did it to Bernie all the time, or anybody who might follow him out of his millions of followers on Twitter. But, we watched 3 days of the DNC, which had like Michael Bloomberg, rapist Bill Clinton, John Kasich, Republican. Like that's, somehow that's okay. And if you have one questionable take, then they're going to bring you down over here.
Yeah, totally ridiculous. But like Zach said, just huge solidarity with the FHL comrades, some of our favorite folks. We just had a stream with Kamali Rose, who's another one of our favorite comrades who recently joined FHL. So yeah, just really huge fans.
Us too. It was really moving. And wonderful.
And I was watching that earlier. I just want to say I agree with everything you guys were saying. I mean, as far as I'm with you on the Rittenhouse. We're not going to get too into that because it's just the, I don't know, it's the layup. I mean, to me, if you're on the left, you should not be, you could think Rittenhouse is going to get off, but you can't be defending the guy.
100%.
He deserves a strong defense, right? Like he deserves a defense because he's
obviously, of course.
System, but he's a fucking racist who brought a AR-15 to a protest.
And if you're not talking about it in those terms, if you're not calling him a white supremacist as he is, then in my opinion, you're just not reckoning with the reality of the situation, and that shows me some questionable, suspect motives on your end.
100%. Good. Oh, look at that. We all agree.
Harmonious agreement on this for once. Don't tell the chat.
I haven't even been able to that. There's too much stuff. I'm like not able to deal with all the okay. Nice.
I'm mostly just kidding. Gavin and I tend to bring a brigade wherever we go.
You tend to say it again, Zach?
I said sometimes we have a tendency to bring a brigade with us wherever we go.
Yeah, all our haters.
That's so what a great following. Sorry about that. I don't understand it. I mean, you guys are so lovely to us, but I guess we'll just keep scrolling past and get to the fun of the show. So, Pat.
Yeah, the more hate watchers we have, the more t-shirts we sell. Which we don't actually have t-shirts, but that would be nice. So, I don't know.
Yeah. All right. We wanted to start off talking about the 30 hours of produced video or, content this weekend, us doing our show, you're doing your show. We know how difficult it is to produce a show. It seems to be really difficult for some of the folks over at Fox. And we thought before we get into all the problems on the left, which there are multitudes of them, the reason we fight so hard against the liberals who aren't doing their job is because they're paving the way for the yahoos we're about to show you on Fox to keep destroying our country even worse. So this is just like a lighthearted moment before we get into all of the disaster of the week.
Is this the scripted
politics and all those woke storylines in so many shows today? I was watching an episode of You where measles came up.
Wait. When did I mention measles?
I don't know. It was on you.
What was on me? What are you talking about? Right? Is Raymond even hearing what I'm saying? I never had the measles.
Was on you.
We never did a measles and vaccine episode. Is this a joke?
I know.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
It was on you. It was on you.
I've never had measles. What are you talking about? This is stupid.
It was an episode of a show, Laura.
What's it called?
You.
What is he talking about?
It's called You.
I've never done a show on measles. I just completely give up. We got to get out of
It's a
this.
show
I give up.
called You on Netflix.
There's a show called Laura Ingraham on Netflix. What are you
Never
talking
mind.
about?
I'm moving on to Adele. I can't explain this to
What's
you.
he
The
talking
pop
about?
singer had an open.
Literally the cringiest shit I've ever fucking seen.
So I've never watched her before. That's the brain trust that we're having such a hard time beating. Like, how is that even an opposition to anybody on the left, even the nominal left? That is insane.
I mean, yeah, right. And it just shows you how much people fucking hate the Democrats, right? If we could, because the other day there was a graphic going around on Twitter of every Sunday news show, right? And like there were maybe I don't have it in front of me, maybe 30 fucking shows that are on Sunday in the cable news realm from sun up to sundown in that Sunday bracket. Like the first 20 of them are Fox News, like literally every single Fox News show before you get to like a couple of CNNs and then MSNBC, and they kind of battle it out for the end. So it's not just that they're losing to those people, it's that they're getting fucking starched by them in a massive way. And yeah, not a lot of brain power there, not a lot of critical thinking, right? It's kind of like they need their teleprompter bad, and then even with the teleprompter sometimes they fuck it up. But yeah, that was fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, also just regardless of the content or the substance, just cringe as shit. Like, who thought that was a good idea? And if anyone's not familiar, that was all scripted apparently. Like that wasn't even an organic interaction. It was all like a scripted joke moment. So I'm like, what the fuck was the point of that? How in any way could that be perceived as anything other than unadulterated cringe? I don't get it.
Wait, hold on. I don't know if I understand this properly. That was not an organic moment. That was the script.
What can I just add? Because I mean, it just felt too absurd to me also, but do you know that for sure?
Yeah, almost 100% sure. I could swear I just saw that was a scripted moment.
Do that.
Let me look it up. I'll show you right now.
Oh God, you're gonna have better. You have a better production value than we do. You're gonna bring out. You're gonna share a screen with some content. That's crazy. We need
also.
To do this.
If I'm ever dumb on air, it's pretty much a scripted moment.
Oh, 100%.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious that Leila is so much smarter than me. It's our shtick.
Okay, well, apparently a lot of people are theorizing it's scripted. I swear I saw a story that said it was straight up scripted, but a lot of people are wondering or saying that it is.
Here you go again with the fake news guard.
I know.
Are we gonna get kicked off YouTube because of what Gavin just said?
I know, it's like fake news. We've got to have a little the Twitter
spreading disinformation.
Yes,
and we were growing 200 followers a day until you came on, and the algorithm.
Okay, though, according to Business Insider, insider.com, one of her colleagues said it was planned and scripted. Laura Ingraham's colleagues.
What?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly felt that way because it was so it was just
what's the end?
Yeah,
I mean, what's the end goal other than them being the butt of the joke?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, why would you script that? If you're going to script something, at least make it actually funny and not just like ungodly.
Or let everybody in on the joke at the end, like, haha, whatever.
Yes, yeah. Either way, but you have to admit the way that the dude is responding to her and the way she's responding to him, like at some point she would have just dropped it, but you have to admit they kept it going for so long, and it seems such like a back and forth. People are saying it's like Abbott and Costello and shit. Like it seems pretty fake to me.
Comedy geniuses over there, yeah.
It's fucking yeah. Oh, go ahead, Pat.
No, and the whole thing was about that show, which I'm embarrassed to say I got hooked on, and I tried to get unhooked so many times because I was like, you're selling this thing as some sort of serial killer thing, and it's just some lady drama. And I'm like, I just can't.
First it's height challenge people, and now it's the whole female sex. Go on, Pat.
Hey, wait. I'm drinking man juice. This is literally says man juice. So that cancels out my
You're drinking what?
Toxic masculinity is canceled. Man juice.
All right, bro.
It's literally, yeah, I mean, I'm just saying I'm a lefty. I'm a lefty.
So many 13 jokes going on.
Good.
Okay, let's talk about the
Been known to make some man juice myself. Never drank the
right?
shit.
I mean, there's okay.
Right,
We're
so
gonna, let's
excellent.
talk about the disaster of the Biden administration poll numbers, which will get us into our wheel for this week. We got some numbers for you, and it's looking good for Pete Buttigieg. No, it's not at all. But no, not at all. It's actually
anyone not named Biden. Yes.
Anyone not named Biden.
You would think, but that's not actually the case. Roll that footage or whatever.
Yeah. So let's just take a look at Biden's job performance numbers, which are disastrous. I think they're Trump levels right now. The economy, 40%, stimulating jobs, 44. I don't know why that's higher, but anyway, it just keeps going down until handling Afghanistan, which they really tried to rub him out with, at 33%. It is horrible for him. But wait, go ahead.
Well, no, he's tanking epically. I'm gonna show the next graphic because
you bring your keep here.
The point is, GOP is going to murder us in 2022. I mean, there's no doubt.
I mean, for those numbers to be so close right now, look at that. Biden losing to Trump by 11 points in a new Iowa poll. 11. You know, the worst thing that the liberals did for their cause, if it even is their cause, was to help boot Trump off social media. Because I think people forgot how awful he is every second of the day. And without that constantly like in people's faces, there's like some weird,
I actually totally agree with that. And I remember when Trump got kicked off Twitter at the beginning or after January 6th. And I remember there was that piece of data that came out that was like the Google searches for Donald Trump or like where that are at an all-time low, you know, even pre 2016, stuff like that. And everyone was talking about how, you know, like, oh, Trump's becoming irrelevant and the country's moving on and all that stuff. And I've always thought in the back of my mind that, well, that may be true momentarily, but Trump's actually potentially going to benefit from this in the long run, because after losing the presidency, everyone was so fucking sick of him and tired of him that he gave them that much needed space. And as the saying goes, distance makes the heart grow fonder. So all these people, you know, haven't been subjected to the daily deluge of Trump polarization and gossip and drama and all that stuff that came along with his administration. And in the meantime, they forgot how annoying it is, how tedious it was, how disgusting it all was. And now, because of the fact that the Democrats are so feckless and so ineffectual themselves and aren't offering any sort of a populist vision whatsoever for the way forward in this country, the people are slowly but surely, at least on the, you know, the right for the most part, in the center, some independents are slowly starting to once again think, you know, maybe Trump is the antidote to all of this. Maybe the Republican faux populism is the antidote to this neoliberalism, just like we saw after, you know, 8 long years of Barack Obama's neoliberalism. Now, you know, just 4 years of Joe Biden, because he's not as nearly as charismatic or interesting or, just talented of a politician as Barack Obama was. People are already ready to just throw him the fuck out and you know, fall once again for the populist fake or the fake populist boogeyman and Donald Trump. So yeah, I think it's just totally an indictment of the Democratic Party right now, that they're already opening the door. It's already, you know, swinging open once again, not even 2 years after Joe Biden's inauguration.
Yeah. Not even 1 year. Oh my God.
Yeah, you're hearing centrists are saying things we were saying, which is like Biden's not going to make a second term. And the centrist message is putting that out there right now. You're starting to, it's on the wheel, but yeah, I'll save that. But you're getting all this like, oh, suddenly Warren is in the media. Suddenly Buttigieg and Kamala are back in action. That's for a reason, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like fucking.
Should we get to our beautiful?
Wait, yeah, sorry, Zach.
Oh no, I was just saying it feels like Groundhog Day, right? And yet the days are getting shorter and fucking, you know, as you said, at first it took 8 years for everybody to be ready for another fucking goon to lead them down the rabbit hole of fucking faux populism and corporate tyranny and all that jazz. And then instead you have 4 years of Joe Biden. Everybody remembers how much they hate goddamn neoliberalism because it's the only thing they fucking had fed to them for the last 40 fucking years as they've gotten poorer. You know, all kinds of shit has happened to them. So anything that's an alternative to that for desperate people of certain kind of nature, they're going to flock to that, right? And that's what sells, and that's what will get you elected, especially with the way that our electoral system is set up right now. And the Democrats refuse to learn that lesson. So it's honestly, it's unsurprising at this point that, you know, Donald Trump would be trouncing Joe Biden. Joe Biden is in power. People have short memories. They remember when Donald Trump was in power, they got some checks. That was good. You know, they were getting $600 a week in unemployment. That was good. That's what people are thinking about right now. And, you know, he's been able to successfully amongst his crowd take credit for the withdrawal of Afghanistan. Oh, Joe Biden would have never done that if I'd never, you know, had my masterful deal negotiating. All this stuff. The Democrats are, as Gavin said, they're feckless and they're terrible at messaging. So they have nothing to take credit for. And even if they did have something to take credit for, would be withdrawal from Afghanistan, which is a war that they helped get us into anyway, especially a guy like Joe Biden. And then you have this fucking bullshit bipartisan infrastructure bill, which is just a handout to billionaires and not enough to do any real good anyway. So 100% it's unsurprising that Donald Trump is crawling back, and you know he's going to continue to sell that snake oil like he does better than anybody, it seems, and people are going to fall for it again.
Yeah, it's pretty devastating.
Yeah, but totally 100% agree with you. But with Biden at 38% now, what's going to get his numbers up? It's not going to be this bipartisan infrastructure bill, because he's still going to fail on his own bill. The Democrats on their own can do whatever they want, and they're not even going to probably meet the level of the bipartisan bill, which is stupid, the stupidest branding in the world, because now you get to say the one thing that did get accomplished is both parties.
Yeah,
you know, like that's your brand.
Yeah, I know, right?
And then, but my point is, you're going to go. So what's coming? What's coming is student loans are going to become due soon. So young people are going to drop that number even more because they have student loans repayments starting in January. They're raising Medicare wage prices. So
Not
all these things.
The percentage of inflation. They're saying like the cost of living is going up 5%, and the Medicare is like 14 or 15%. I mean,
I think that. I mean, honestly, the only thing that could save him at this point, that could change people's mind and up his approval rating, would be a series of strong executive orders that would actually make some substantive results, get some serious wins for the party and for the administration. Obviously, legalizing cannabis is popular, bipartisan. You know, both parties support it, both sides, people support it, independents support it. It's a popular layup issue. He could do that. Obviously, canceling student loan debt is another one. So he could roll out a series of really strong, bold executive orders and change the conversation. Get people talking about these wins instead of this miserable negotiation which went on, and in which the progressives got totally played, by the way. But that's not going to happen. I'm just saying that if he wanted to save his approval ratings, if he wanted to make himself a little more popular, that would be the only really real way that I could see him salvaging.
Instead, we're going to invade Venezuela or Cuba.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
All right. I hope we take a shot first. Let's go. You guys ready to spin the wheel? Sorry. We try to have some fun as we're dealing with just all the sadness in our world.
Let's spin it, guys.
Spin it.
Spin it to win it.
You getting your drink ready, Pat? He's wearing too many hats. Yeah.
I don't know how to force this to land on a shot, but let's do it.
Yeah.
You can just take a shot anyway. It's all good.
It's gonna happen. I improvise on this one. Yeah, I mean, it just came out that Republicans are going to try to decriminalize marijuana, baby. Outflanking Joe from the left again.
Yeah, I mean, this just gives credence to the bullshit kind of concepts that Republicans always like to push, that they're pro-freedom and that they're pro-individualism and that they're, they have these libertarian convictions that they don't actually have. And instead, after absolutely annihilating any kind of competition that would have taken place for the pharmaceutical industry when that was beneficial to them, now it's become so overwhelmingly demanded by the citizens of the United States as consumers that they cannot they cannot deny the rabid lobbyists that line their pockets this ability to profit off of their constituents via legalization of marijuana. So that instead of, any kind of progressive policy being passed, whereas, even some benefit to people who were previously incarcerated under the drug wars getting, priority access to things like
Loans.
Licensing, loans, licensing to be able to open up a shop like that. It's a pain in the fucking ass as a small business owner to try and get into the weed game legally. That's why most people just don't bother if you're like a small timer in the business. And what that allows it to happen is, Anheuser-Busch and Philip Morris can buy up the entire marijuana industry and set the price and set everything the way that they want to. And now it's a major business that used to land you in prison for decades at times. Now it's making people billion-dollar fortunes.
Yeah, exactly. The reason why the Republican Party has come around to this is because the business community has come around to it. The corporate community has come around to it. You don't think Walmart or at least CVS, Walgreens, all these fucking pharmaceutical conglomerates, you don't think they want to be cashing in on this? Of course they do. Of course they want the money. And yeah, we're getting to the point where it's just going to be impossible to, stop the progress from happening. And at this point, fortunately, the progress is probably going to be happening in the pro corporate direction. It's not going to come along with the exoneration and freedom of all the nonviolent drug offenders. It's not going to come along with reparations for the communities who were most affected by this horrific, oppressive policy of the drug war. It's not going to, come along with vouchers so that small business owners and entrepreneurs can get in a fair way. It's going to be a complete handout to the corporations. And while that's better alternative than, it continuing to be illegal and for people to be locked up for it and, punished for it. It's certainly unfortunate and indicative of the kind of corporate rule we're living under. And it's why it's so annoying that we couldn't get a progressive like Bernie Sanders elected in the first place, because this is one of the areas where, a strong executive with real progressive priorities can make a world of difference. Sure, we wouldn't necessarily have Medicare for all yet if Bernie Sanders was president. That would be a huge fight that he'd have to be waging. But when it comes to stuff like this, absolutely, Bernie Sanders not only would have legalized it on day one, but he would have made sure it was done in an equitable way for the little guy and with respect and reparations paid to the communities, like I said, most affected by the policy in the first place.
Yeah, and instead we're going to have John Boehner sitting in his, massive fortune of pot. And the other thing I do just want to say, because, I don't know if you saw, I think it was the prospect, David Dane, I think is the one who keeps saying all the different executive orders that Biden could have enacted. And he actually could have done an emergency Medicare for all. I just want to say that because if Bernie were there,
that is true.
He would have done that because we are in a global pandemic. True. And then once people had a taste of that, we'd never go back.
Right. Yeah. No, I wonder if Bernie actually would have had the balls to do that. Do you think Bernie would have actually had the balls to try to pass Medicare for all through executive order?
I mean, they would have killed him first, right?
I love Bernie Sanders, and I was inspired by the guy a lot. And I think that he, we always take shit in our audience for saying that we think he's a good person that really means well. But I don't know if he would have gone that far as to fucking declare. I want to believe in the Bernie Sanders that has that kind of steel balls. But this is Bernie Sanders that called Joe Biden his good friend all through the election. So I mean, maybe he could have gotten some fucking steel fucking stones on Inauguration Day. That could happen. But I think we would have been really forcing Bernie to do shit like stack the court right now. I think that he would have been trying to expand unemployment rate and aid and things like that during the pandemic. I think I just don't know if he would have been able to also because the issue of that is it's going to immediately go to the courts. There's going to be no compliance at a lower level. So he's handicapping himself by promising people this and not being able to deliver on it. So, or, hypothetically, right. In this whataboutism, but that's my instinct. But I think that he would have been fighting in a much better direction on every single front than Joe Biden would have been. I just think that maybe he wouldn't have gone all full bore on that, even though we would have been fucking demanding it. And that would have been what I was now pissed off about, the fact that he wasn't doing that. That would have been my new hill to die on, talking about how Bernie Sanders was betraying us every single day, but he wasn't doing this. But I just don't know if he would have been able to fucking pull it off, but maybe. I hope so.
My personal fantasy world, he did. But yeah, I hear you.
I want that fantasy.
Yeah,
he would have gotten enough done to ensure his reelection was automatic, is what I feel like.
Oh yeah, and even
anyway,
if he didn't pass Medicare for all through executive order, he damn well would have been fighting for it regardless through the more traditional means. So I mean, that's far more than you can say about Joe goddamn Biden.
Oh God. All right, let's hope we get a shot. Let's go.
Yeah, baby.
That's not
Why?
I'll drink to that.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
Infrastructure.
I mean, right? Like, fuck. I mean, it's just, you know, what's that song by T.I., Dead and Gone? That's how I feel about the infrastructure bill.
Yeah, it's pretty bleak. We got a couple things to show everybody. Oh, well, sorry, wait. Pat set me up. See, I can't be the person who's in charge of this. I just
on sort of the reality check
Here's
inside
Chuck.
the White House. Look, yesterday, that event, I'll be honest, it felt like it just felt like an event out of time. That event might have been impactful in August or September or October. It feels more like an epilogue to the ending of what's might not be a good story for Democrats in 2022.
spooky. So I am not a Chuck Todd fan, as I'm sure nobody who's watching is. But he's right. It's totally like this was a disaster. They should have pushed this through earlier. They should not have, split it from the reconciliation bill. They stripped it of so much stuff anyway. And then just to see this like boring sort of like group of old white people on the lawn was like, what are you doing? It all felt bad.
It's that moment right there is honestly symbolic for the entire PR of the Democratic Party at this point. How fucking miserably they failed to market what at one point was a pretty good bill to the American people. Even before it got gutted, this thing was in the negative as far as its approval rating because the Democrats weren't talking about what was in it. They weren't letting anyone know. They were just referring to it in these vague terms. Everyone was confused about what the fuck a reconciliation bill is versus a bipartisan infrastructure. I mean, people that don't pay attention to this for a living, they're not fucking, like easily digesting these complex negotiations. They have better things to do. And why the hell would you pay attention to this if you didn't have to do so for your living? It's the most boring, tedious, depressing thing ever, watching it, systematically get gutted of all of its decent provisions one by one until it's just a shell of its former self and a massive handout to the corporations and the private sector. So yeah, it's ridiculous for that reasons. But again, even before that gutting took place, the Democrats weren't telling anyone what was in it. I mean, Bernie had a few feeble efforts to educate the public with his, town halls with AOC and stuff like that. But as far as the Democratic Party, they apparently couldn't give a shit about this legislation or anything in it from the very beginning because they weren't doing anything to, brag about it. They weren't doing anything to try to boost its poll numbers or defend it. They were just letting it get savaged by the Republicans who are out here with the dumbest talking points of all time, talking about how it's going to increase the size of government. I'm sure you guys saw that Tulsi Gabbard clip where she was on Sean Hannity, they're letting him get away with that though. And again, before it was even gutted. So yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah.
So if you're going to appeal to voters, the idea is that, okay, everyone, Republican, Independent, or Democrat is going to feel the effects of the infrastructure bill, right? They're not though. I mean, you've got a bill that the whole thing was infrastructure was designed as roads and bridges, and it fixes by most people's standards. It's going to address a quarter of the problem with roads and bridges. And so assuming we're going to lose in the midterms and accomplish nothing after that, and then we're going to lose in 2024 because we didn't accomplish anything before that. So we got 10 years to fix the roads and bridges, and we're doing a quarter of it now. So that's not going to appeal to progressives. Progressives aren't going to be like spiking the ball. Oh shit, a quarter of my bridge is fixed. I mean, that's not really how it works. But
well, 100%. And oh, go ahead, Pat. Sorry.
No. I'm sorry. I have a delay here, and it's messing me up a little.
Yeah.
Talk over me.
No. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I 100% agree with what you're saying, and I think that this messaging problem. I mean, nobody's without fault, right? The Democrats were completely incapable of messaging, so it fell to Bernie Sanders. And then when he did go out and do his town halls, he was already pitching a watered down bill. He said he wasn't going to go. He initially proposed a $6 trillion bill. He said he wasn't going to go below 3.5 trillion. After a lot of the key provisions of the 3.5 trillion. Bill, he did this what's in the damn bill town hall with AOC and some of the people from Sunrise Movement to be like, oh, we need to pass this desperately for climate change, after it had all the teeth taken out of it anyway. And the only thing that was remaining in it was universal pre-K, which they're going to fucking underfund completely, make it a burden for anybody that wants to try and use it to enroll their children in universal pre-K, so that they can later attack it and talk about how ineffectual it is and why we need a smaller government, or they'll serve up a ball so that the Republicans can do that, or somebody like Tulsi Gabbard can do that, and just completely fuck up the point. And so you have people, this is how Republicans are constantly able to sell, oh, the government doesn't do anything for you, we want small government, shouldn't private corporations take care of this? If you go to a company and you're unhappy, they give you a refund or they remake it. If the government makes you unhappy, they just tell you to fuck right off. So this is what feeds those reductive arguments. They say, oh, you see, that this is what happens when you try and let the government fix the roads. Shouldn't we just have a politician that runs on like having private corporations fix our roads, or etc. Right? So it's just a failure of messaging on all points. If it was going to fall on Bernie Sanders to be the one person that had a bully pulpit and was going to be able to use it to, advocate for the fucking shit in this bill, he should have drawn a line in the sand at $6 trillion, never shut the fuck up about saying $6 trillion, talked about all the great shit that was in his $6 trillion bill. That way, when Jen Psaki has to correct him and say, no, Bernie Sanders supports a $6 trillion bill, Joe Biden's bill is $3.5 trillion. At least then all of the fucking neoliberal shit libs, whatever the fuck you want to call them, can be like, see, this is the reasonable bill and Bernie Sanders' crazy bill is $6 trillion. And instead we're saying, oh, Bernie Sanders' $3.5 trillion bill is crazy. Let's do 1.2, 1.8, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, and now we're fighting for 1.75, and I have to justify this, like justifying the $15 minimum wage, right? Where you're like fighting for it, like, oh, why didn't they fight for the 15 when it should have been 30 or 24 or whatever? And as Pat said, to give, first of all, to give Republicans any credit for a bipartisan bill when I think 13 of them crossed the aisle. But, it's completely toothless. And all they're going to do is say it was a big spending bill and it's too progressive. We spent too much money. And that's why Biden's going to lose in 2022. We got to tack further right.
But they're going to say it was too progressive, too left. And are your roads all fixed? Do you have problems and bridges and bad roads in your town? Well, because this thing raised the deficit and the inflation is through the roof and gas prices are so high. And that's all because of this bill, which is nonsense, but that's how they're going to frame this.
You're forgetting about Joe Biden stimulus checks, Pat.
Oh, you think I would forget, but I have a video. Here we go.
That's close the port in China. It can delay shipment of furniture or clothing, reduce worldwide supply, and driving up prices here in America. And the irony is people have more money now because of the first major piece of legislation I passed. You all got checks for $1,400. You got checks for a whole range of things. If you're a mom and you have kids under the age of 7, you're getting $300 a month. And if it's over 7 to 17, you're getting $360 a month, like wealthy people used to do when they get back tax returns. It changes people's lives. But what happens if there's nothing to buy, you got more money, you compete for getting it there, it creates a real problem. So on the one hand, we're facing new disruptions to our supplies. At the same time, we're also experiencing higher demand for goods because wages are up, as well as people have money in the bank. And because of the strength of our economic...
I mean, how out of touch with the American public is this man? $300 a month, and that changes a person's life. It's all going towards bills. It's just an extra stop on the way to lining the pockets of his rich pals.
I think Joe Biden's version of
no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think Joe Biden's version of poverty is just having a little wooden shack out in the woods, and you're a poor person, so you just you come back into the city out of the woods, and you buy some sticks and meat roast, and then you just hobble on back to your little abode where $300 makes you a fortune, and you bury it in the ground, and you just say a prayer every night. I don't what do you fucking think this is? Do you think this is 1600 outside? What are you talking about? And the way that he's like, oh, this is going to help people like rich people get, you mean when your other major piece of legislation was to give rich people billions more dollars? Why the fuck did you do that for poor people, guy?
Yeah.
You know, it's fucking ridiculous. No, the fact that I gave you $1,400 after I promised you $2,000 is actually why my entire presidency is fucked right now. So don't ask me for anything else. That's essentially what he's saying.
Yep. How much did we get from Trump?
Yeah, more.
$2,000 plus, I think.
100, yeah, 20, yeah. Yeah. Sad.
I think it was 2,400, or was it 2,200? Like 1,200 and 1,000 or something.
Whatever it was more than we're getting from Biden. And we're also, I know we're going to get to the COVID stuff, but we're about to pass the death rate also with Biden. I mean, it's just a nightmare. All right, Pat, am I going to get a shot, like a legal shot, or just have to take one on my own?
If it doesn't hit now, I'm taking a shot.
Yeah, baby.
Okay. Yeah.
This is probably a good idea because last week I was so tanked. It landed on a shot like 5 times in a row.
Yeah. So as we were saying, this Build Back Better bill, the biggest money line item is a tax refund.
Yeah, the salt tax thing or whatever.
We were repealing the salt tax cap, which is, you know, for anybody who doesn't understand it, it's just, it was kind of put in there as a petty thing by under Trump, right? Because he went back at the blue states
to screw the blue liberals. Yeah, the elite, the West Coast liberals.
Yeah. So they can't deduct
probably the best thing he ever did, honestly.
Right? Like, yeah, so they can't deduct the state and local tax from their federal income tax. And so now Gottheimer and other Blue Dog Dems are fighting to get that repealed. It's going to be, we have it somewhere here. I'm going to find this graphic. I am.
It's missing in action, but I just want.
No, look.
Is that it?
That.
No, you got it. Good job.
I bet if anybody can read it, maybe that was a crap, but I'm just going to give it a shot. That was a crap one. Yeah, the biggest line item is a tax refund to billionaires and
absolute insanity.
Yeah, so if you're a Republican and the talking point is going to be against you that you're here to raise taxes, you just go, he gave corporations the biggest tax break. I mean, he gave the corporations a bigger tax break. Trump gave more money to people than Biden. Republicans want to repeal weed too.
Yeah,
Biden literally, I mean, repeal,
Yep.
You know what I mean? But Biden ran on decriminalizing marijuana. Hasn't done that. I mean, he can sign all these things away, and he didn't do it. So, like, half your criticisms are validly wrong if you're
100%
attacking Republicans.
And honestly, the only
awful people, but no, go ahead.
Yeah, 100%. And the only decent thing, the only defensible thing that I think that Biden has actually done so far is getting us out of Afghanistan. But unfortunately, as I was talking about, the Democrats' PR is so goddamn inept that they've actually made more people pro-war than previously. They made the numbers for Afghanistan go in the wrong direction by fucking up the withdrawal so bad, or at least fucking up the PR for the withdrawal so bad. There were definitely some issues with the withdrawal for sure. I'm not saying that it's above criticism, and yeah, I agree that like we shouldn't have fucking left our allies there, or whatever the hell the talking point is. But you know, if Joe Biden had just even remotely competent PR and was able to get out there and defend his decision in a way that didn't make him look like a doddering fucking fool, then maybe he could run on that. But again, instead, that's where we saw his ratings start to collapse and decline in the first place, because people, the media got the better of him there.
Yeah, well, it's really hard to sell people on an anti-war message, and then you turn around and inflate the Pentagon budget massively when they're trying to get an infrastructure bill. You can't get any goddamn money for yourself. So everybody's just scratching their head. And you're right, he cannot articulate a fucking thing. The man is one of the worst politicians I've ever seen in my fucking life, and he's ascended to the presidency. He looks like, and I mean this in a non-ableist fashion, although I'm going to get exiled like Pat here when I say this. He looks like he's a stroke victim every time he's up there trying to give a speech. He's like fucking incoherent and babbling, and that's just not what that's not going to be an effective messaging beacon for the public, right? And go ahead, Pat.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with you 100%. But if your whole goal is to pass this Build Back Better, why are you framing it around the expense of 10 years? Why don't you whittle that down to it's this much per year?
It's
I mean,
350 billion.
it's the most simple messaging on earth to not make it a 10-year expense.
I don't think they want it to pass, honestly. I don't think that the people with power right now want it to pass. And that sounds conspiracy, tinfoil hatty, but it bears out, right? What they want to be able to do is get everybody to shut the fuck up come midterms. The BIF is the infrastructure bill. The progressives lost to Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema. They got outplayed. Joe Biden's, fucking advisors, whatever, they don't give a shit. They're gonna run with whatever. They already know they're fucked anyway. Deep down they do. So they're just gonna run that. They're gonna keep their lobbyists happy, because I guarantee you every single one of his fucking advisors has checked out from their goddamn job, and they're waiting to get their pockets lined somewhere else, and when they can cash in on all the favors they've done while they've been in office. That's just the way the fucking world works.
Win, lose, or draw, they're gonna run on. I mean, so most likely they're gonna get Biden out, is my opinion. So whatever. They don't care. Like, if that's true, they can stick anything that happens now on Biden and try to run on something else. But at the end of the day, if you really cared about winning, you wouldn't do that at all. Obviously, you would just have a solid plan and try to fulfill some campaign promises, even the simple ones you could sign your damn name to, and poof, magically they appear.
Their definition of winning is just different from ours. Their definition of winning is really. Their definition of winning is getting the cushy lobby jobs and, a think tank position or an MSNBC contributing. It doesn't matter. They fail up. It doesn't matter. And they definitely don't want any of the broad social spending, which is why that's always called the social spending bill. And they always, as you said, put it in terms of a decade, as opposed to the Pentagon. We never talk about the money for the Pentagon. And if we do, it's always for an annual expense. So yeah, they don't want any of these programs to pass. All right, take a shot. Oh, no way. What happened? How do we have so many take a shots? All right, go.
Because I'm removing the other options until it's just shots. So if we, in theory, if we had a 2-hour show, it would just be take a shot, take a shot, which I can't handle. So
yeah, baby.
Finally, take that shot.
All right. Hey, we didn't even ask you guys. What are you both? Are you drinking? Are you drinkers? Are you smoking? Are you not anything? Which is all fine.
We both got high before we did this, I think.
Okay.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely smoked a little bit. As for drinking, just got my water.
Okay.
My Modelo.
All right, cool. So Pat, I'm gonna join you in man juice.
Oh, I'm supposed. Well, no, I changed to Endless Rants IPA.
I like that better, but I don't think you're gonna do a shot of that, are you?
No, I'm gonna
shot of IPA.
Bourbon.
I like a beer.
Are you kiddos drinking shots of IPA? Wait, can we roll the Beto skateboard footage? We need to land.
I smoke my weed. I don't drink it. I stay the fuck away from IPAs.
You don't drink the bong water. Hey, wait, no, we got to get to our. All right. I'm just never gonna like that.
What are you drinking?
I'm waiting for my
vodka.
My Sky vodka. Yeah.
Personally, I cannot take shots of vodka. It's fine if you like put it in some lemonade or something, but as far as shots, I can only do like tequila and rum. I for some reason vodka just tastes so bad to me.
Yeah. The second one goes down a little smoother.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, baby.
Okay.
That is fitting. The second one goes down smoother.
That's what she said.
We're just talking about taking.
Oh my God. I just realized I didn't play our beautiful wheel footage. So while we take this shot, where's the footage? God damn it. Oh yeah. Cause come on, this took graphic design work. All right.
Did you animate that?
Sorry.
Or did you make that?
That was literally for my own pleasure because I
Did you just make that animation?
Like.
Just
yeah.
That's dope.
That's pretty good, Pat. But I feel like I'm not getting credit for my shot. Kaylin, Kaylin, welcome. Cheers. Am I taking another shot? No, I'm not.
Do it.
All right, let's spin the wheel. We got some stuff to get to.
That's true. Do we not? I think we lost our hate viewers. God damn it.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't give them enough drama.
They'll be back if you.
I was kind of looking forward on just dunking on them once I had a few beers in me.
Yeah, baby.
Okay.
Look at
Nice
that's good
work.
time. Hey, when you bring up Beto, like the establishment rolls some footage. They're ready for Beto.
They are ready. Let's see what we've got.
I talked about Beto.
He's
So
now running against Greg Abbott in Texas. He was supposed to be the 2020 guy. I think it was supposed to be him and Kamala. But here he goes. Let's see it.
Yep.
Democrats love a loser.
They love.
Remember this beautiful
guy.
moment?
Yes, that's some of my favorite moments this cover, especially if you zoom in on the dog. Look at its fucking sad face. It looks so fucking miserable. It's like, why am I here? Fuck this dude. I love this. This is one of my favorite covers of all time, just for that reason alone. Is the fucking hilarious placement and fucking mood.
Who
of
was
the
the
dog.
politician that famously had the dog on the top of his truck?
Mitt Romney.
Mitt Romney, yeah, he drove around with it on
Romney.
what a piece of shit, dude.
Like,
Speaking of
reminds me of
dog
that a little
bastard politicians, anybody forget Andrew Yang when he was like, "This is the dog I abandoned that's running up to me that's so excited because he still knows who his daddy is." And it was like, what the fuck is the matter with you? I am one of those people where, like, if you bring home the dog, you had better keep it until you fucking die.
Yeah.
Like, I do not fuck around with that. My dog is like my best friend. I take him that is part of the family. Like, I can't comprehend that. Oh, I'm just gonna, fucking take it back to the shelter, and then to have the audacity to post a video of it running up excitedly to you, be like, it still knows who its daddy is, as you pay no attention to it at all. Man, that was a dirty moment for Andrew Yang, but I digress.
I mean, that was a real.
No,
yeah.
I'm picturing him like giving the dog whipped cream. If you remember that moment.
Man juice.
Man juice. I moved on.
All right, but we got some video. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, we all know like this. He was known for this. Wait,
born to it.
wait.
He said.
Where's the Beto? Where's the Beto? Oh, here it is.
He doesn't know how to stop. So
that is like liberals in a nutshell, right? There's no ideology. What do you stand for? What do you care about? What will you fight for? What's your record? He can skateboard across.
If he busted out a kickflip, I'd have voted for him.
Oh, he tried. I have footage of him rolling his kickflip. Here we go. I think that's actually not Beto, but I saw it back in
Who
the day, and
cares?
I was like, he looked just like him. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, it's not, but that is fucking hilarious. Anyway, yeah, the tragic thing about Beto O'Rourke is that, as bad as he is, as cringy as he is, I still think he's actually significantly better than Pete or Kamala as far as, as far as the talent, as far as just being a charismatic politician, completely disregarding policy.
Yeah.
But apparently he's just gonna run and lose the Texas governorship instead of jockeying for the vice presidency or the presidency like Pete Buttigieg is.
Oh my God. Well, we have some stuff up here. I started because I hate myself. I was already sad today, so I started watching the documentary on Amazon Prime. I got 5 minutes in and I was like,
I watched the whole thing. A couple of days ago. Yeah, I was a little bit bored and I was like, yeah, fuck it. Time to watch the Mayor Pete doc.
when he's whistling to himself, knowing all the cameras are on. This is 5 minutes in his office at the beginning of the documentary as he's signing. He's like, I'm just Bill, like doing the Schoolhouse Rock.
I know, dude. It's so cringe.
No.
Yeah, that documentary,
that's
I think
not
it's
it.
supposed to like humanize him or whatever, or make him more palatable to the American public. But as I said on Twitter, it only confirmed my suspicion that he's a fucking sociopath. Like it did not humanize him at all, in my opinion. It only made the problem worse.
It was like Chasen's cry for help. Like, I have to say, the documentary starts off with Chasen saying to the documentary filmmaker who asks him, what do you think I should ask Pete? And he says, why don't you ask him what it was like to live a lie for his whole life, and if he had to sublimate that for his ambition? Can you imagine? Like, if somebody came to me and asked, what should I ask your husband doing a documentary? I want to sell him out so hard because I can't handle a real conversation with him in our marriage where I'm like, why don't you ask him why he's always calling Betty on the phone at 5 a.m, whatever. Like, that was a crazy beginning to the whole documentary.
Well, it was unfortunate because that opening actually got me a little bit excited for the film, because I thought we were going to get some real insight, and that the documentary filmmakers would pursue that question of what's it like to be a soulless sociopath in pursuit of power. But instead, that's not what the documentary was at all. It was just a puff piece about the dude, and it never actually tackled that question, which the opening scene promised. So I was disappointed, because I do like political documentaries when they're actually interesting and, like, you know, ask the tough, uncomfortable questions. But this one was just totally rote, totally blasé campaign trail documentary that didn't, you know, actually ask the challenging, uncomfortable questions about its subject. So I was super disappointed, not just because Mayor Pete is a centrist corporate Democrat, but even as just a fan of documentary filmmaking. I thought it totally failed in any way to be an interesting, you know, piece of work. And like I said, it was basically just propaganda for this motherfucker. But yeah, totally hilarious to watch anyway.
I mean, I watched the first 5 minutes, but the fact that they did a documentary, they started on the guy who is the mayor of the 4th biggest city in Indiana a year out. So they already have Netflix sponsoring somebody, funding this documentary, just shows like how much the establishment, like, nobody was doing a documentary on Bernie Sanders when he made his announcement in 2015, right? They didn't start the documentary then, and this started filming a year before Iowa. So it's just so clear that, exactly as you said, it was just some, you know, like puff piece PR.
Yeah, and it's also,
I think the important,
sorry, Pat, you're good.
Go ahead. No, Gavin, go.
Okay. Well, all I was going to say was it's unfortunate.
I was just
gonna... Laura Ingram has entered the chat.
I was going to say, oh my God, I'm glad we started with that.
Hey, you. Sorry.
I've never had the measles, Pat.
Anyway, you go ahead, Pat. It's your show. I want you to hear what you had to say.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I'm selling a book on t-shirts and bumper sticker. No, I don't know. Go ahead, please. I have a lag on my end. It's messing me up big time. So
all right, no problem. Well, all that I was going to say was that it is disappointing because the documentarian who made the film actually directed and made a really interesting documentary called Boys State a couple years ago, which was also a political documentary. So I was actually a little bit excited for this. You know, I was hoping it wouldn't just be PR propaganda for, you know, Pete Buttigieg, because of the fact that it's directed by an interesting filmmaker, at least seemingly. But yeah, it was total PR, total propaganda. There was no real challenging of Pete Buttigieg. And in fact, you know, like you said, like Chasten Buttigieg or whatever you're saying about him, he comes off as so much more likable throughout the entire documentary. He's actually funny. He's actually interesting and charismatic and honest. And every time it cuts to Pete Buttigieg, literally every time, even when the documentarians are trying to get real questions out of him or answers out of him, he just reverts to talking points and politician speak. He literally used the entire documentary just as a media opportunity, and answered every question like a politician, not as a human being. So basically, like, half the documentary is Chasten Buttigieg being like a normal, relatable human being, and then cutting back to his husband being this like robotic politician. And it just it left me being like, why isn't Chasten the one running for office? Why isn't he the one as a politician? Again, not even necessarily because I agree with him in any political sense, but just because he's so much more charismatic and likable.
Yeah, the Democratic Party certainly rewards that dead soul, the narcissist complex that Pete Buttigieg just sports that look so naturally. You know, even though he's completely unlikable to every sane person.
Also, his Obama impression has got to stop. Like, I can't not hear it. Every time he tries to do one of his grandiose bullshit pseudo profound speeches, it just sounds like a straight up Obama impression, 110%. And I don't see how everyone doesn't see that.
Let me be clear.
I feel like he's Beto, but like not quite as dumb. Like, he's following the talking points Beto was given, and Beto just forgot him, and he's on his.
But I still think Beto's a more talented communicator. I think that Pete just comes off as so goddamn like. I mean, I'm not even defending Beto O'Rourke. I think he's terrible and phony too. But I don't know, something about Pete's like faux intellectualism. Like, I speak 8 languages and I fucking am a chess champion or whatever the fuck. Like, shut the fuck up, dude.
Yeah.
He was created to run for office a long time ago. Yeah.
I mean, Beto gave an answer about Black Lives Matter like 2 years ago. It was when I first sort of started getting to know who he was. And it was really, I thought, thoughtful and intelligent, and also not kowtowing to the critics.
That was what launched his entire fucking career. That I think it was about Colin Kaepernick, right?
Yeah. And I mean, it's just, so I do think he has that in him, but of course, you know, then we see the rest of him. But yeah, I mean, that's not true. Every once in a while, Mayor Pete gives an answer that gets all the libs like super excited, because he'll talk about gay rights or Black rights or racism. And it's like he's followed the teleprompter exactly. And he's thoughtful and intelligent. And then if you ask him like a policy that would support some kind of reparation or some way to fix the situation that he lays out so beautifully, you know, then it's all McKinsey.
Yeah, and speaking of the documentary that came out, the one part of the film where they actually go into some of his troubled, you know, legacy as mayor of South Bend is when they're talking about the point in the campaign trail. It's right before the first debate, and there's the officer involved shooting in South Bend, and the officers murdered a Black man in South Bend. And of course, Pete Buttigieg had this terrible history with the police department. I forget all the specifics, but I think he fired the first police chief of color and promoted some racist piece of shit officer into his job. Anyway, the film doesn't actually go after Pete for that. It doesn't actually ask the tough questions, but it does show that town hall that he gave in South Bend before participating in that debate. And it really does reveal how terrible of a politician he actually is when he's under pressure, because you have all of these South Bend residents, people of color, working class people that are basically scolding him and saying, like, we've been telling you this is a problem. Our children are, you know, terrified to even go out in the streets or interact with cops. When cops come by, our kids get scared. They don't feel safe. We've been telling you this is an issue. We've been advocating for the reforms necessary, and you haven't done shit. You've made it worse. And he's up here with his babbling politician bullshit, only thinking about how that he's going to be able to spin this on the debate stage. And again, unfortunately, the documentary totally misses its opportunity to, you know, dive into that more and interview, for example, some of those residents. And instead it just acts like, oh, what a great mayor. He stood in front of his community and he took the hits and he, you know, stood there and he was so brave and courageous and all this fucking horseshit. But in reality, it really exposes how disconnected he is with working people. And that's the best part of the documentary, because it really exposes just how, you know, flimsy he is as a politician. And I feel like that's a situation where, even though his policies were very similar, someone like Barack Obama would have been able to handle it way better, not just because of his race, but just because he was a good communicator. He was, you know, funny. He had that ability to kind of diffuse tension in a situation with his levity and all that stuff. And it's just something that Pete Buttigieg is just simply not possessed. So anyone that's out here trying to make Pete Buttigieg out to be some rising star in the Democratic Party, it's all bullshit. He's not going anywhere. He wouldn't be able to win a national election, in no small part because of the fact that he is miserable at connecting with the African American community, because they saw what he did in South Bend to the African American community. So yeah, that's a pretty key constituency for the Democratic Party. You might want to look for someone that has a, you know, snowball's chance in hell of connecting with them.
Kamala.
Maybe Amy Klobuchar.
So I just want to bring up one thing related to this. I don't know if I'm lagging here. Sorry. I'm going to just talk over everyone until everyone stops talking, because it's the lag. But I just want to bring the media into this thing with this love affair for Pete, because it's not an accident. So in 2020, I was covering the KDEMs, which is the California Democratic Convention. It's where all the Democrats get together. It's where they had debates on stage a little bit, but then they also had a backroom interview section with press, and somehow they let me get in there as press. So we were there as press. And in the same week that all the stories broke about Pete having terrible support with Black community, how he lied about getting all these people, all these endorsements, all that stuff happened that same week. You know, so we're in this. I mean, I swear to God, there's like 20 reporters and all the candidates. You know, that's all there is here. So there's one CNN reporter there. the CNN reporter, nobody asked anybody. I mean, nobody asked Pete about some actual people that independent journalists asked Pete about some of the black stuff and how his black community support and his terrible job as mayor, yada, yada. But CNN was there, didn't ask a question to any single other candidate, not Klobuchar, not Booker, nobody. But when Pete came up, they were like, well, there's a poll we just saw that said you're in first in Iowa. And that was the whole thing from CNN. As soon as they asked the question, they got their shit and got out of there.
Yeah.
So that was all they were there for. They were literally just there to boost
soundbite. Yeah.
Pete's stock within the public. You know, I mean, that was the whole thing. So,
I mean, yeah, I mean, it seemed like it was pretty obvious at the beginning of the primaries that they were desperate for fucking anybody that was going to be able to stand up against Bernie Sanders. It was the beat Bernie Sanders primary, and nobody thought it was going to be Joe at the beat. I mean, dare I say nobody? Very few people were riding with Joe Biden just because of how unlikable he is, how dog shit his history is, how the fact that even his own former president that he served under wouldn't fucking endorse him until the very last fucking second.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that he only ever became vice president because he's basically a racist Republican. You know, all these kinds of things. He eulogized Strom Thurmond. I mean, the list goes on and on, right? Just disqualifier after disqualifier. Not to mention he can't get a fucking coherent sentence out of his mouth to save his fucking life. If you were like, Joe Biden, sing happy birthday without fucking up or civilization dies, we'd all be fucked. Okay? Because he'd be like, what song was that again? Oh, it'd be all over. It'd be all over. Happy. Nope, you're singing that to the croon of.
You know what I mean.
The thing.
You know what I mean.
The thing. All right.
Happy the something.
6:07. I don't want to lose our friends here. Let's get our last couple ones in.
All right, we're gonna do the wheel. Should we say what? We'll see.
Yeah,
one or two more times. So that's why I said one or two.
The thing is, I'm about to go have dinner with my husband and my 15-year-old who's been like making dinner, and I always come out on Wednesdays like, hey, let's go.
I love you guys so much.
Mommy's got work to do. All right. Cheers.
We're going back to Will because obviously.
I know, but
take
can
your
you take your shot?
Cheers. Take a shot.
You're lying.
Yeah.
That's not a shot.
I don't have all day. No, I took a shot.
All right, go ahead.
Someone roll the footage back. Next. Oops. Wait a minute. This is where the show falls apart.
Yeah, don't get
Or
alcohol
gets
poisoning. Jesus
It gets
Christ.
Hey, you know what? We need to set up a Patreon for the after show because the after show is just going to be fucking
Or the medical
ridiculous.
expenses when your liver goes.
Oh,
I
no.
mean, either or.
I've been working on this project a long time.
Yeah. You kids, let me tell you about your liver.
I know. Pat and I were talking before the show that maybe we should be like your godparents or something. I think we
could be.
I'll share my liver if you give me one of your lungs when mine goes.
Okay. Yeah, my
Fair.
lungs are pure.
That is fair. Although I used to smoke a lot of weed, so who knows what happens? You know, you guys could.
If Joe Biden
Suddenly-
legalizes
Yeah,
it,
baby.
would you go back to that?
Oh, here we go.
Blood and teeth. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know
Well,
about.
I don't know.
This.
This is how bad Elizabeth Warren is. They created this blood and teeth thing that nobody even fucking knows what it means. But they're sort of like KHive, but like for Warren.
Yeah.
Where is that? Someone find it.
Someone. I guess that's me.
Someone help me.
Oh, okay. No, so this is what happened was.
Wait, there's another one. There's another way.
Oh, you're right.
It's right around that.
The origin story. Is it that?
There we go.
There
Yeah.
you go.
So when she created the CB Consumer Protection, I don't know, whatever
It
CBD,
accomplished exactly nothing.
Yeah,
not
the
weed.
consumer protection, the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection
Yeah.
Bureau.
It brought everybody down. Did you notice? They all
Right.
stopped their predatory. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Wall
this-
Street's fixed.
this
Yeah.
this was her quote, which it was in an interview. So you have to think this was like some PR created moment, because she's not just going to come up with like blood and teeth on the floor.
Wait, when
like
did
that's
this
not
happen?
Warren. Like this is a PR thing.
This was like from 2010.
Okay.
Whenever she,
This was
a long time ago,
just
but
talking
still,
about
it was some
establishment.
branding.
Yeah.
I was like, that
Yeah.
doesn't sound like modern day Elizabeth Warren at all.
Yeah. So her whole point was she's going to take
Yeah,
over the stores, she's going to destroy them, right? Go ahead, Pat. Sorry.
But her, oh no, it's okay. Her stands, the people, the KHive of Warren, which I don't know what you call that, but it's these blood and teeth people. The most radical people you will see, they have like teeth literally in their emojis, in their Twitter. It's like blood and teeth because of this quote that we just saw. But this is just one thing I've seen on the internet, and I wanted to bring this up because I feel like we're getting a sudden push for Kamala. I mean, all these camps are starting to wage their wars already for 2024.
Yeah.
And the Kamala people are going after Warren people, and the Warren people are like, thank God that thank God that Warren didn't get sucked into this administration, is their new thing. Like that would be the worst thing in the world if Warren was picked as VP. She's so smart for not going there. And the person who tweeted this is it's like, I mean, she's like the KHive VP, maybe. I don't know what you call her, but like she's up there.
KHive, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's so funny because all Warren wanted to do, which is why she sold everybody out, was be the vice president, and she couldn't even do that. So to act like
or Secretary of Treasury or fucking any kind of a role in the Biden administration at all.
Yeah.
Just to throw 2 cents in there as far as Warren 2024, if that was where this was going. I got a hot take that I don't think that she's going to run for president again. I think that she's actually going to bow out of politics after her Senate run, or not bow out of politics, but I don't think that she's going to run for office again. I think that Ayanna Pressley is going to run for her seat for the Senate. That Ruthie, what's her face, that she's been endorsing and gotten behind at the Boston City Council level, that just recently won an election. She'll run for Ayanna Pressley's seat.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that people would even try and rehabilitate Elizabeth Warren by pretending that she didn't fucking salivate out of her fucking mouth and drool all over the place, hoping to be tapped by Joe Biden to do fucking anything. Yeah. And the fact that, people like Pete Buttigieg got on the administration and she didn't, it's pathetic. It's sad. And the fact that she even wanted anything to do with Joe Biden tells you everything that you need to know about her character.
Exactly. Anybody who supported her. It's why, I mean, I think we talked about this before, but I can't even get behind Katie Porter because I'm just so repulsed that she went for Elizabeth Warren and not Bernie.
I can't think of someone who has less of a base, because her base is just picking off segments of other people's bases
Right.
who think she's progressive, who think she's centrist, who think she's this, but her own, she's not any of that shit. I mean, she's centrist, really, is what it comes down to. But,
yeah, 100%. Oh, what were you going to say, Leila?
No, go ahead. I was going to say one more, but I want to hear what you have to say.
No, all I was going to add was that it's especially funny if you remember that Bernie was supposedly talking about not only making her VP, but also the treasury of the secretary. So if she was at all smart and really wanted to move up and get more power, then she would have stuck with Bernie instead of Biden, who obviously was going to screw her out of a job. The fuck? She went to war with him back in the day. Like they were nemesis for a while. So yeah, total insanity. But I mean, I can't shed a tear for Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, not at all.
No, and she was on a college tour and basically admitted, you have to parse the words, but she admitted, if you watch it, that the reason was she was hoping for the VP. So it was like how do you trust a person like that who, fuck all your values, I'm gonna be VP, that's why I did it. Like, okay, so now we're on the left, we're fucked.
Yep. Why is Bernie even running? Everybody else is just as progressive as he is. All right, last spin of the wheel.
Last one.
I gotta get to dinner.
Yeah, baby.
Shout outs all day. It's your show. You got to follow the rules.
Fucking, this is crap. But okay, let's do it.
Cheers,
So
fellas.
after hours, folks.
Yeah. And then
Absolutely.
This is where we all take our shirts off and it gets fun. Not you guys. Cheers.
yeah, I'll leave you guys to that. I also have to go make dinner tonight. But yeah, it was great chatting with you guys, and we really appreciate you guys having us on. It was a lot of fun tonight shooting the shit.
Everybody, I mean, I know everybody knows who you are, but tell us where we can find you and tell us.
And what's
next?
if
you're really into shit lib fucking neoliberal fucking policy discussion, simping for the establishment, then maybe you should check out the Vanguard. That's what we do there.
Yeah, sure.
Amen. Love you guys.
Yeah, it was great.
What do you got coming up, man?
Great to see you guys. Thanks so much for having us on. Really appreciate that. And also shout out to Laura in the chat from Red Berets. Great to see you.
Yes. Oh, there she is. Sorry. I know. I'm seeing double. I do see. I'm trying to put everybody on there. Thanks, you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. We love you guys. You're awesome.
Thank you.
Appreciate the hell out of you guys.
Yeah, please got to come back on the Vanguard soon.
Thank you. Right. All right, Pat. That was fun.
Do we have anything to go out on? I mean, do you have some last thoughts?
We have last thoughts. I'm a little sad about the left eating itself, but we're just gonna keep plowing through and doing the work and showing up and really appreciate the people who are staging protests and covering them and
Amen. And so the title of the show was Lefty Drama, which the reason was not to get into all the weeds of the lefty drama, but just to express our acknowledgement that this is going on right now. And I don't want to side on one side or another an issue. I don't think people are cancelable for their views on a particular issue. But I do think on the Rittenhouse case, I want to express my views, and you can disagree with, you can debate where this lands legally. I worked in a law firm for 6 years. My mom used to be a judge. I understand like arguing the nuance of this, but he was there to cause trouble. He went to a Black Lives Matter event, a protest about police brutality with a gun, and sided with the cops, and the cops sided with him. So legal or not, don't side with him. I can't consider you an ally if you do.
Yeah, I agree. You're here. I totally agree. I said that at the beginning of it also. You don't show up to a protest against police brutality with an AR-15 to protect property or whatever his stupid defense is. That said, next Wednesday is the night before Thanksgiving, and my older son is coming back from college, and I do want to go pick him up at the airport. So Pat has kindly altered the schedule. We're going to be a little earlier next week. I think we're going to do 3 to 4 Pacific, which is 6 to 7 Eastern, but we'll let you all know. But hope you can tune in for an earlier show next week.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody. Thanks
for
watching.
And thank you so much for watching. Appreciate the Vanguard pod.
Zach
and Gavin, love you guys.
Love you guys. And thanks, everybody. Keep punching up. Night.
Cheers.
Cheers.